the future of learning and development, a digital transformation. And for the same, I would like to invite Mr. Ashok Madaan, who is the Associate Vice President, Head L&D ERS at HCL Technologies. Giving a brief, an industry veteran and thought leader in technology, learning and development with 34 years of experience, training and upskilling engineers with specific focus on deployment through competency development, founder and head of School of Talent Advancements and Reskilling Academy, which has grown from simple training facilitation unit to the key business stakeholder for the engineering and R&D service division of HCL Technologies. Please welcome Mr. Ashok with a huge round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think energy level is not that high. People are waiting for the tea probably. Okay, I think some of the slides which I'm going to show you are definitely going to wake you up. That, as the topic says, is future of L&D digital transformation. I have spoken in recently a couple of other L&D conferences, ET, Tech HR and People Matters, but there the agenda was more on what we have achieved and what we have done in last couple of years in COVID times. I think this time is going to be totally different. What we foresee the future as from the L&D point of view. So some of this is imagination, some of this is reality, some of this is still under investment. Feel free to keep questions in your mind ready, and at the end we'll definitely take some questions because this topic is going to be very, very interesting, and we should make it as interactive as possible. Okay, the three things which I'm going to cover is why the digital transformation is important now, how L&D will be transformed, what are the myths and truths, and maybe a few risks. And at the end, I'll also show one more thing which is more related to future of L&D, rather it is coming very fast, I will say, but it's more on the user learning experience side rather than on the technology side. So I'll just end the session with that. Okay, in the last couple of years, there was a positive trigger of COVID from L&D perspective. COVID was definitely a big negative phenomenon from the humanity, but I think from L&D perspective, it was a huge positive trigger. I think the way our learning environment has moved in the last 2 years, it would have happened probably in 5 to 10 years if the COVID would not have come. So I think the speed at which the learning has now moved is astonishing, and probably some of the data points if you look at in the following slide I'll show, and even in the current organization where I'm working HCL Technologies, I think our learning hours per employee catapulted to around 4 to 5x of the learning hours which were there prior to the COVID times. So COVID moved the learning from training room to the e-world, and extremely rapidly. Prior to COVID, I think all of you who are from the L&D world will definitely agree. If you had to go on to a business team and say that no, we'll provide you e-learning instead of classroom, then no, e-learning is not required. You just get me something in the classroom because that is not effective. That was the perception people had. And probably in the last couple of years, the learning content providers like Skillsoft, Udemy, Coursera, I think they definitely improved the content quality significantly, and it automatically moved to the e-learning world from the classroom world, and that is where I'll say today, at least in HCL Technologies, my 90% plus learning happens through the digital world, and only 8 to 10% is happening to the physical world. And that 8 to 10% is also, my feeling is it's a matter of time, and that is not happening not because of the any other reason, but the main reason is I think there are some technical challenges in executing that on the digital world. I'll show you some of those challenges as well. So this is the same thing which I am talking about, the COVID part. These are some of the statistics. If you look from 2017 onward, the increase in e-learning was on an average 3 to 4% per year. But when the COVID hit us, it suddenly went from 3 to 4% to 30 to 25 to 30% per year increase in the number of learners. You see these numbers. from December 2019, 11% to 42% in December 2020, and December 2021, around 61%. I don't think by any means we could have achieved this if COVID would have not been there. Impossible. So that's why I'm saying a positive trigger like COVID can help us move to the next level of learning and development, which I'll show on some of the following slides, much faster than what we anticipate. In general, if you see the top 10 countries where most of the e-learners are, I think the number 2 is India right now. Probably, my feeling is it is not number 2, actually it is number 1. But the data captured for majority of the learning is probably not done through a structured manner, and that's why these numbers are comparatively low. Otherwise, I think the maximum number of e-learners are comparatively, compared to any other country in the world, is in India. But the quality of e-learning is still, I think, needs significant boost to make it from that 18 to 90% to 100%. That is required, that is mandatory, and that is going to happen for sure. It's just a matter of time. If we go with a normal speed, probably it will start sometime in 2025, and by 2020-30, we should be able to achieve that. But if some positive trigger comes, maybe 5 years earlier. Now, when we say this change in technology and change in learning environment and what is the future of learning, I think the biggest question is going to be how easily or how difficult it will be for us or as a human race to adopt it. I think we need to be extremely flexible. I think the future is in the VR, no doubt about it. A lot of people today, since morning, have talked about it. People have various names for it: VR, AR, augmented reality, virtual reality, metaverse, whatnot. Ultimately, they're leading to the same thing. They are a mixture of various technologies. Now, I think the advancement in this technology is happening at much faster pace. But I think these numbers which I'm showing, 2018, 2020, 2025, my feeling is again these numbers are going to be much faster than these. These are some of the predictions by some of the industry analysts. But I think seeing the progress which has happened recently from classroom to digital world, I think this can happen much faster. I think the biggest question here is now how quickly and how easily we can adapt to it. I think we need to be extremely flexible and adaptable to this. I'll tell you why this is important. I'll quote some of the examples also. Some of you who might come from the hardware background will understand that when you do a training on an embedded world, you need to actually play on a hardware kit. And you are playing on a hardware kit which is used in mainly in colleges, but in the hardware world in the real life also. So you need to know really switch on and switch off and those kind of things need to be done. Now, if I have to do all that learning in the e-learning world, it is impossible to do it that way because I need a physical kit in front of the student or a learner. But if you can bring in some technology by which I can actually do that virtually, I think that is the need of the hour. And that is a very crude example. I'll show you some of the real examples where and how it can help. Human adaptability to new technology is amazing and unbelievable. I think you would have noticed that and seen that in the last couple of years. The speed at which you adapted, it is much beyond our understanding. The hallmark of human species is great adaptation. And I'll quote an example from history. I think people who are basically from Delhi will remember about, I think, 10 to 12 years back when CNG started coming in Delhi. There used to be very long queues for getting the CNG filled into the vehicles. And people used to say, yes, CNG गाड़ी तो लेने का फायदा तभी है अगर आपके बहुत टाइम है लाइन में लगने के लिए, or you're not going to travel out of Delhi. Otherwise, you can't really use CNG. But today, I think you go anywhere in India, majority of the highways, you'll easily get CNG. And people are very easily adapted to it. And I don't think there's any second thought nowadays whether it's petrol, diesel, or CNG. If CNG, as long as it's cost effective, people will definitely take it. And I think people are very comfortably adapted to that technology. Now, same thing is happening on the EV world. I think the EV world, the prediction by Mr. Gadkari is that by 2030, the 50% of vehicles in India will be e-vehicles. But again, I think he's underestimating the potential. My feeling it can happen much faster. I'll quote another real-life example. Some of you might laugh at it. Last week, I was traveling from Delhi to Bharatpur on a highway somewhere near Palwal. there's a place called Kasli Pappu Ka Dhaba. I don't know how many of you seen it. If not, then you should definitely visit that place. Not only because the food is great, but I think there's another astonishing fact which I will quote. Asli Pappu Ka Dhaba, when you go enter, on the parking lot, the first 2 slots are reserved for EV charging. Can you imagine that? I think that is the kind of speed at which the things are moving. We can't even estimate that will happen. I'm not talking about Delhi. I'm talking about a village near Palwal on a highway, and it's a dhaba, and on dhaba the parking lot 2 slots are reserved for EV charging. So I think the adaptability is humongous, and we can only probably close our eyes and imagine how fast it can go. I think this is another example of how adaptable the world is. And today, most of us, rather at least me for sure, I learn a lot of mobile tricks from my kids. They know much more than me. And I think if we think that all these things are going to be true, then the future of L&D is, I think, something which is going to be very, very interesting and very impactful, I will say, with much lesser cost and risk involved. Why I'm saying that, I'll come to that within few slides. Now, what is this digital transformation we are talking about? The AI, virtual reality, big data, drones, cloud, 3D printing, augmented reality. So I think the 2 key technologies which out of this which are going to be used are augmented reality and virtual reality for the future of L&D. Augmented reality is already there. I think we are seeing it in many places, but I think VR is still a bit far. Probably it's going to come very, very soon. How is virtual reality transforming e-learning? I think there are some examples. These are just show some of the examples how it can be used in management training, in programming training, in HR training, and design training, that you can create 2D models and see the 3D effect of that. I think this is one example where I would like to again quote a story, real life story in fact, and tell you how important and how impactful and how risk-free this technology could be. So this is using in the medical training. Few months back we lost one of a close relative, and when the news came and we just wanted to know where is the cremation and what time is the cremation and all. And when I called them, they said, no, there's no cremation. What does it mean? He says, we are going to donate the body to a medical college. And when these people went there to the medical college to give the body, I think the kind of impression you see on the faces of those doctors is amazing. See, for them it is a very, very highly prized possession. Otherwise they have to practice all these things on the dummy stuff. Getting a real body is a real prize possession for them. Now, if you can create that kind of same feeling for a doctor or an environment for a doctor for training or learning using virtual reality, I think you have saved millions of dollars. You have saved a lot of human lives. I think this is one real life example which I can tell you this is going to be the major area of application for virtual reality. Automotives, aeronautics, all these things. If you have to really learn these technologies, because these are very, very human life critical kind of equipment, and you really need to be double sure when you're teaching the people to work on these. I'll again quote a small example, or rather again a story which I'm not sure is a true story or not. A lot of you might know that the first heart transplant was done by Dr. Christian Bernard. Now, Dr. Christian Bernard once was probably riding on his two-wheeler and it broke down, and he went to a mechanic to get it repaired. And mechanic took some time and repaired it, and he said, Dr. Bernard, you and me do the same job, but you get paid so highly and I hardly get paid. He says, no, guy, there's a big difference between what you do and what I do. How is the difference? You repair the heart of human beings, I repair the heart of the two-wheeler. He says, no, there's a big difference. When I repair the heart of a human being, the machine is still running. And it has to keep running even after the heart is repaired. In your case, you have a luxury of switching it off. I don't have that luxury. So I think these are the very, very critical applications where this technology can really play a big role. And this is definitely going to come and going to happen very soon. Marine training, defense, again another very, very critical area where this technology can play a big role. And a lot of you would have seen our kids playing some of the games on these mobiles and others using these technologies. No? This is the list of companies which are investing in this technology. Are you surprised by the list? Almost every company is thinking in that direction. I'll take some of the big names. Meta, Facebook, everyone knows. Metaverse, I think, is there. Microsoft Dynamics 365 connected space and Microsoft Mesh. I think a lot of you people would have used Microsoft Teams. I think the next version of Teams is going to look like this. Some of the university startups, SCRVR, I think university in California, not relevant university, again one more startup. They are way ahead in the technology. I think these products are already there with them in the labs. It's a matter of time when it comes to us. Another very critical area, the medical research. So see the kind of partnerships which are happening. NVIDIA, AstraZeneca, and some of the universities combined together working on this technology using this VR technology. Some of the investment which companies are making in this area. Now some of the myths. Virtual reality will replace the classroom. I don't think it will replace. It will only augment the classroom. Classroom will still important, teacher is still important, professor is still important. But I think this technology will only add to that. Some of the visualizations of the artist, how is it going to? By investing in crores of rupees in this technology, I can do it in 3 months. I don't think that's real. By investing more money, you can't do it faster because there's some basic technology which are still not there. I think the 5G is the most important technology for this to happen, and 5G licenses are just now rolled out in India. Services are yet to be rolled out. I think it will take at least a couple of years by the time we are able to make real use of this technology, because in this a huge amount of data is going to transfer from one location to another location. And until as you have access to this 5G kind of technology, is going to be impossible. VR is very costly. Yes and no. Implementation is not costly. Implementation in the sense that I already have the curriculum, the courseware. I think it's a matter of just buying a 10K worth of some glasses to use that. It is cheaper than a mobile. So I don't think it is costly at all from that angle. Yes, I agree, it is very costly to build the content. It is difficult to move from traditional to VR. I think it is difficult, yes, but I think there's a step-by-step approach. You can first go to AR and then to VR. What's the difference between AR and VR? In AR, you still have the feeling of using the device. You are still in a kind of a hybrid kind of mode. In VR, that feeling of using a device is also not there. It's a very immersive kind of technology. So it's a step-by-step approach. AR is already there in a lot of places. I think it's a matter of time when you transition from AR to VR. And metaverse is nothing but the same thing. A name coined by some of the companies is exactly the same thing. So we can develop VR on our own, VR technology learning on our own. Yes, you can, but I think it's going to be very cumbersome, very costly. So it's bad. I think in the first few years, it's going to be a subscription-led service. You will have a lot of content and services available which you can subscribe to and use it. I think investing by every company in creating that content is not going to be possible. Probably after maybe 15, 20 years, it can become very easy and very cheap and people can do it. But I think till that time, you'll have to live with this. And I saw multiple risks, but I think I narrowed down to only one risk, which again I think is something which the technology will take care, and that risk is data security. I think the huge amount of data is going to be transferred from one place to other, and this data can lead to multiple issues if it is not in the right hands. So I think the cyber security is the only solution to that, which probably my feeling is the solutions will come as the technology arrives. Now, that was the technology part of the future. I think there's one more aspect which I want to touch, which a lot of you are aware, but I'm just going to give you a glimpse of it, how impactful it could be. Now, a lot of companies have done research and seen that video-based learning is much more impactful than text learning. Attention span of a human being, which was earlier 15 minutes, are reduced to 3 minutes or 2 minutes. Until as you carry the attention of a human being in a video, in first 30 seconds, he's not going to watch the video. So all the research, I think you people would have all studied that. That's available on the net. You can see it. But how it is going to change the day-to-day learning, which few people call as bite-sized learning, bit-sized learning, and all that. I'll show you just one example and then close with it, and you can then move to the questions. TED Talk. All of you are aware of TED Talk. And generally, sessions are 1 hour, 2 hour kind of sessions. Although they are video, but how many times you are able to sit through the whole session and watch it? Whereas TikTok, when it comes to your mobile, you see almost all the TikToks. Because within the first few seconds, they catch your attention. And I'll show you how TikTok or companies like TikTok are going to enter into a new business model from entertainment to learning. I'll show you one small video, how impactful it could be, how easy it could be, how customizable it could be to make learning very, very pervasive.
कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हमारे पास कुछ इस तरीके से पेपर में डेटा होता है और उस डेटा को आपको अपने एक्सेल शीट पर चाहिए, बट आप पेपर पर देख देख कर एक एक करके डेटा को फिल करते हैं और ऐसा करने में कितना ज्यादा टाइम चला जाता होगा। बट अब ऐसा नहीं होगा क्योंकि आप टेकविज गैजेट को फॉलो करते हैं। आपको सिंपली अपने फोन में माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एक्सेल की एप्लीकेशन इंस्टॉल कर लेनी है, देन ऐप को ओपन करना है, उसके बाद ऊपर ऐसा प्लस का बटन मिल जाएगा, इस पे क्लिक कर देना, उसके बाद ऐसी ब्लैंक शीट को ओपन कर लेना, फिर यहाँ पे आपको ऐसा पहला सेल जो है सिलेक्ट कर लेना है, नीचे ऑप्शन का बटन होगा, इस पे क्लिक कर लेना, फिर ऐसा होम का बटन होगा, उस पे क्लिक कर लेना और इंसर्ट सिलेक्ट कर लेना, देन यहाँ पे आपको डेटा फ्रॉम पिक्चर का ऑप्शन मिल जाएगा, इसको सिलेक्ट कर लेना और फिर आपको अपने डेटा शीट की जो है इमेज क्लिक कर लेनी है। एक बात ध्यान रखना कि इमेज थोड़ी क्लियर होनी चाहिए। उसके बाद कंटिन्यू पे क्लिक कर देना, देन नीचे आपको ओपन का बटन दिखेगा, उस पे क्लिक करके ओपन एनीवे। अब आप देख सकते हैं आपका पूरा पेपर का डेटा जो है एक्सेल शीट में आ गया है। उसके बाद इस एक्सेल फाइल को जो है आप सेव कर सकते हो लाइक एक्सेल फॉर्मेट में, और फिर वो एक्सेल फाइल अपने आप को ईमेल करके आप अपने कंप्यूटर में भी ओपन कर सकते हो। तो जो काम 1 घंटे में होता है उसको आपने 2 मिनट में कर लिया, और जिसको जरूरत है उसके साथ ये वीडियो शेयर करके उनकी भी हेल्प कर सकते हैं।
Interesting, impactful. I think that is the future of learning. In a very crude way, that is the future of learning. If you can create, I think I know at least 3 companies in Delhi NCR area who are working just on this, creating this kind of bite-sized, very high quality content. They can create it on order, they can create it in general on topics, and they are doing amazing business. I think they have recently started in last one or 2 years, and amazing business they are doing. And you know what is the maximum usage of this technology? Who's doing the maximum use of this technology in India? Can anyone guess? Which industry is doing maximum use of this technology in India? Any wild guess? Pardon? IT? Financial? Okay. A mobile phone is a device which industry is doing the taking maximum benefit of this kind of technology? Huh? Okay. Okay? None of you are right. The answer is most of our spiritual gurus. See the videos of Sadhguru, C.C. Ravi Shankar, Shiv Yog. You will see all these technologies being used by them. Their videos are 3 to 4 minutes long, and they cover a very fine bite-sized aspect of each in each of these videos. And they are minting money using this. We think they are the slowest, they are the fastest actually. Okay, these are some of the references if you want to study more on this. Okay, any questions? Do we have time for a few questions? Okay. Yeah, please.
Yep.
My question is, see, we haven't moved up till now even to simulations. So when it comes to learning, I've seen great difficulty, seeing L&D professionals developing content which is based on simulations. And here, probably for the past 3 to 4 years, I've seen VR coming into the picture. And of course, the first initial years, would be expensive stuff. People would get to know it. It will become more relevant once, it goes into masses, the cost becomes low. But then I haven't seen that in the past decade with simulations, similar thing happening. So I have a sort of apprehension towards how we can make it a mass product and probably how intensively VR would be utilized as such. I mean, that's the kind of apprehension I've been into, in terms of adopting AR and VR technology.
I think there are two areas where the adoption is going to be extremely fast. One is the areas where it is human life is involved. As I mentioned, the medical, the aeronautics, and the automotive of the world. The adaptation is going to be extremely fast, and there is no choice there. That is one. And second is, which will happen without your knowledge, is amongst your kids. They are going to adopt to these technologies from their schools, from their learning and ecosystem, much faster than what we can even imagine. And if you get a chance, just look at the kind of games they are playing nowadays. I think they are way beyond our thinking. We are still used to the Pac-Man kind of games. What they are playing is something very, very realistic. I think some of the games got a very bad name also because of that. You remember, I don't want to name them, but I think some of the children got into the suicide and those kind of things also. I think these are the two areas where the adoption will happen first, and after that, it will spread across.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.